Imagine dedicating your entire existence, sacrificing your sleep, your health, and your sanity to secure your child's future, only to watch the very pride you instilled in them become the instrument of their tragic downfall.
It's a truly chilling thought.
It really is. And before we unpack exactly how this happens, a quick reminder. If you're watching this deep dive on the Simplified Summary YouTube channel, please take a quick second to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share your valuable comments down below.
Yeah, it helps us immensely and keeps these deep dives coming to you.
Exactly. So today our mission is an exclusive, detailed exploration of the classic short story Shanti by the legendary Hindi writer Munshi Premchand.
Right, and this is drawn directly from his celebrated Manasarovar collection.
Yes, exactly. To set the stage for you, we're following a narrator who is basically checking in on the family of his late friend Devnath.
Devnath was, an incredibly generous man.
Right, the kind of guy who gave everything to his community. But he left his devoted widow, Gopa, with practically nothing.
Which is a terrifying position to be in.
Oh, absolutely. And together, Devnath and Gopa had raised a fiercely proud daughter named Suni. They instilled in Suni a profound sense of self-respect, a concept known as an unyielding honor that becomes, well, the central pillar of this entire narrative.
It really is the anchor of the whole thing.
Yeah. What unfolds is a haunting exploration of the crushing weight of duty, the toxic nature of societal expectations, and the deadly cost of personal pride.
It's a masterful setup by Premchand, who was renowned for his ability to dissect the social machinery of early 20th century India.
He really was a master at that.
Yeah, and you have this family completely upended by the loss of its patriarch, but the true focal point quickly becomes the psychological aftermath of that loss.
Right.
The widow, Gopa, isn't just grieving a husband. She's navigating a world that offers virtually no safety net for women in her position.
None at all.
She internalizes the societal expectation that a family's ultimate duty, and basically the sole metric of their honor, is to marry off their daughter grandly.
So, with Devnath gone, she essentially takes on his ghost to get the job done.
Exactly.
When the narrator visits Gopa in Delhi, the physical toll of her grief is just stark. I mean, she looks aged, completely worn out.
Yeah.
But beneath that frail exterior is this manic determination. She's constantly stitching clothes, organizing, planning. She tells the narrator she's barely slept an hour a night for 4 entire months.
Wow.
I know, but how does a community react to someone working themselves to the bone like that? Do they try to stop her, or do they enable it?
They absolutely enable it, though they view it through a lens of immense respect. What's fascinating here is the sheer mechanics of her psychological state.
How so?
Well, this isn't just a mother wanting a nice day for her daughter. This is survival via task completion. She has borrowed money from absolutely everyone in the neighborhood.
Everyone.
And the community gives it willingly because they're honoring her dedication in the memory of her late husband.
Right, they see it as noble.
It's a powerful societal feedback loop. They admire her sacrifice, which only pushes her to sacrifice more. Gopa is operating on a level of stress that is entirely unsustainable. But to her, resting would be a betrayal.
There's a chilling detail from the source text about that mindset, actually.
About the possession?
Yes. The narrator is worried about her taking on this massive burden all alone. But Gopa tells him she doesn't feel alone at all.
Right.
She literally feels Devnath's soul residing inside her body. She believes it's his soul guiding her every action.
It's so eerie.
It really is. She views her own continued survival solely as a vessel to execute his final duty. Once Suni is given a flawless wedding, Gopa implies she'll have no reason left to live.
It's a profound form of self-erasure. She has completely abandoned her own identity, her own needs, and her own health.
Just wipe them out.
Completely, replacing them entirely with the perceived will of her deceased husband. She explicitly states that her body belongs to her, but the soul inside it is his. It acts as a metaphor for how duty can completely possess a person, turning them into an instrument of societal or familial obligation.
Because in that environment, an unmarried daughter was viewed as a crisis of honor.
Exactly. Gopa isn't just buying a party. She's securing Suni's future respectability and preserving Devnath's legacy.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second because it really makes you think about the lengths parents go to, even today, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We see it all the time. Parents mortgaging their futures, working 3 jobs, putting their own physical and mental health on the line just to provide a specific standard of living or a milestone for their children.
Yeah, that drive is universal.
It is. Gopa is just the ultimate tragic extreme of that deeply relatable human instinct.
And the tragedy is amplified because if she fails, or if the wedding is seen as inadequate, it reflects poorly on the very memory of the man she's trying to honor.
The stakes are entirely existential for her.
Which brings us to the wedding itself, which takes place in June.
The grand illusion. Against all odds, Gopa pulls it off. It's a massive, expensive affair, well beyond her means. But even in the middle of this triumph, she's weeping.
Because she thinks it's not enough.
Exactly. She's still tormented by the thought that maybe Devnath would have done more. But here's where it gets really interesting.
The groom.
Yes, the groom arrives. His name is Kedarnath, the son of a man named Madarilal. When our narrator meets Kedarnath, the guy seems absolutely flawless.
The perfect gentleman.
Literally the epitome of a polite, perfect gentleman. He even bows down to touch the narrator's feet. But is he actually the perfect gentleman he pretends to be?
Not even close. Premchand uses this moment to highlight how easily we're deceived by surface-level manners.
Especially in these highly curated situations.
Yes, especially in arranged marriage scenarios where reputations are everything. Kedarnath performs the role of the ideal son-in-law flawlessly in public.
But privately.
The reality is completely inverted. When the narrator speaks privately with Madarilal, the groom's father, the dark truth comes out.
What exactly does Madarilal confess?
He reveals that he spent his whole life working tirelessly, saving every penny. And as a result, he basically gave his son too much wealth and way too much freedom.
Without any of the struggle that builds character.
Exactly. Madarilal represents the classic trap of the self-made man who wants to spare his child the hardships he faced, but inadvertently ruins him in the process.
He just spoiled him.
Beyond repair. He admits that Kedarnath is entitled, suffers from a severe drinking problem, and is obsessed with the theater and infatuated with actresses. He has zero sense of responsibility.
That's a disaster waiting to happen. So why on earth did Madarilal seek out a family like Gopa's for this marriage?
That's perhaps the most tragic part of Madarilal's confession. He foolishly hoped that a beautiful, proud, principled bride like Suni would act as a stabilizing force.
Oh, no.
He thought marriage to a good woman would magically fix his broken son.
It never works like that.
Never. Madarilal's logic reveals a deeply flawed societal design. The family views Suni not as a human being with her own needs, but as a moral utility. Right. A tool purchased with a grand wedding to rehabilitate a wayward man.
The savior bride trope.
Yes.
It's so dangerous because it places the entire burden of a man's moral failings squarely on his wife's shoulders.
And it sets up this catastrophic clash of wills.
Because Kedarnath doesn't want a partner to better him. He expects a subservient wife who will turn a blind eye to his behavior.
But Suni.
She was raised with that fierce sense of Anatwin, that deep-seated pride. She flat out refuses to play the role of the silent, suffering wife.
So you have Kedarnath's unchecked entitlement colliding with Suni's deeply ingrained self-respect.
It's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
Exactly. Suni's pride is her defining characteristic. But in this specific, highly patriarchal environment, that pride isolates her.
When the narrator visits Suni later, he notes that she looks like a pale ghost of her former self. The vibrant, proud girl is gone.
Replaced by a woman enduring immense emotional starvation.
But she won't ask for help. The narrator tries to intervene, but she stubbornly accepts the situation as her unlucky fate.
She just accepts it.
Why won't she just pack up and leave, or at least complain to her mother?
Because of the limited options available to women in her position. To complain is to admit that her mother's monumental sacrifice, working herself nearly to death to fund this wedding, was for nothing.
Oh, that makes sense.
And to leave is to bring immense social shame upon her family. So she chooses to endure.
Her pride, which should be a source of strength, becomes the very cage that holds her in a toxic environment.
She equates suffering and silence with maintaining her honor.
So we fast forward almost an entire year later to the following May. The narrator is up in Mussoorie.
And he receives a telegram.
An urgent telegram from Gopa. 2 words. Come immediately. You can feel the panic jumping off the page.
It's so abrupt.
He rushes back to Delhi. What exactly does he find when he gets there?
He finds that Kedarnath's behavior has reached its logical, destructive conclusion. Kedarnath completely abandons Suni.
Just leaves her.
Runs off with an actress, but not before committing a massive betrayal against his own family.
What does he do?
He actually forges his father Madarilal's signature to steal thousands of rupees from the bank.
Unbelievable.
And just to twist the knife, he leaves a vicious message stating he'll never return home as long as Suni is in the house.
He blames her for his own criminal departure.
Yes.
And suddenly, the entire household turns against Suni. They blame her for driving the son away.
Which is entirely unfair, but it happens.
But even in the face of this absolute hostility, Suni refuses to leave her in-laws' home.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where Suni's stubbornness becomes fatal.
Right.
The entire household is actively hostile, yet she stays. The alternative, returning to her widowed mother as an abandoned, failed bride, is a humiliation her pride simply cannot process.
I just can't do it.
No. She's effectively stranded in enemy territory, sustained by nothing but her fierce, unyielding honor.
It sets up the most devastating discovery. The narrator, armed with this horrific news from Gopa, rushes over to Madarilal's house.
He's trying to save her.
He's hoping to rescue Suni, to physically pull her out of that toxic environment before it's too late. But when he arrives, he doesn't find a hostile household.
What does he find?
He finds a massive weeping crowd, and he finds a bier, the wooden frame used to carry a body to its final resting place, being prepared.
Oh.
Suni is dead.
It's a heavy, shocking climax.
It really is.
The text doesn't explicitly detail a medical cause of death, but the implication is painfully clear. The sheer emotional trauma, the intense isolation, and the unbending strain of her pride essentially killed her.
And Madarilal, the father-in-law, is utterly destroyed. When he sees the narrator, he throws his arms around him.
He lost everything.
Madarilal has lost his son to vice and crime, he's lost his daughter-in-law to tragedy, and his entire life's legacy, the wealth he built, the respectability he craved, is completely in ruins.
A total wipeout.
And now, the narrator has to do the hardest thing imaginable. He has to walk back to Gopa's house and tell her.
That walk must have felt like an eternity.
It's 10 p.m., the streets are dark, and he's terrified. He's trembling because he fully expects that when he tells Gopa the news, she's going to drop dead of shock right then and there.
Of course.
Suni wasn't just her daughter. Suni was the absolute center of her universe.
The narrator's fear is entirely justified here. He knows Gopa only kept breathing to see Suni settled. With Suni dead, Gopa's entire purpose, her monumental sacrifice, seems completely voided.
So he walks in, dreading the moment. But how does Gopa actually react?
This raises an important question about the nature of grief and the human psyche's defense mechanisms.
Because it's not what you'd expect.
Not at all. Gopa already knows.
Right.
But she isn't screaming. She isn't tearing her hair out. She is eerily, terrifyingly calm.
That's the scariest part.
She looks at the narrator and admits that, yes, she cried when she heard the news, but, and this is a direct quote, she cried not from the heart.
She actually tells him she is glad Suni died.
Yeah.
Glad. I had to read that twice. But when she explains her reasoning, it's heartbreakingly logical in her own mind.
What is her reasoning?
She says that a life devoid of love is not a life worth living. She knows Kedarnath would never have loved Suni, and the in-laws hated her.
Sure.
So rather than seeing Suni as a tragic victim of a failed system, Gopa elevates her to the status of a heroic martyr.
Exactly. She relies on that concept of the Baranin we discussed earlier.
Her pride.
Gopa convinces herself that Suni achieved a victory in death by refusing to compromise her honor for a corrupt husband or a hostile family.
It's her way of coping.
Gopa even goes so far as to claim that if Devnath were alive today, he wouldn't mourn Suni's death.
He wouldn't.
No. She says he would build a statue of his daughter and worship her for her bravery and unwavering principles.
It's such a radical rationalization. She turns this horrific, senseless loss into a triumph of character.
It's a massive shift in perspective.
And the deep dive ends on this incredibly ambiguous note. The narrator listens to Gopa, and he actually goes to sleep with a lighter heart, relieved that she didn't collapse.
And he's not entirely at peace himself.
No, as he lies there, he's haunted by a profound doubt. He looks at this piece that Gopa has found, this Shanti, which is the title of the story, and he wonders what it really is.
It's a brilliant, unsettling conclusion because Premchand doesn't give us a neat answer.
We're left to wonder.
True Shanti peace is supposed to be a state of spiritual tranquility. But Gopa's peace feels fragile.
Like it could shatter at any moment.
Exactly. It seems constructed entirely out of denial and a desperate need to find meaning in a meaningless tragedy.
Because if she accepts it.
If she accepts that Suni's death was just a sad, pointless waste, then her own sacrifices, her literal blood and sweat, were wasted too.
And she can't live with that.
Her mind simply cannot afford to believe that, so it builds this grand narrative of martyrdom, just to survive the reality of the loss.
So what does this all mean for you? Look at your own life. Think about the heavy burdens of societal expectations and pride.
We all carry them.
How often do we trap ourselves in toxic situations, a bad job, a failing relationship, a draining friendship, simply because we're too proud to admit defeat?
Too often.
How often do we refuse to ask for help because it feels like a failure? Suni's pride was beautiful, it was her defining trait, but it was also her prison.
It's a vital reflection. We're often taught to admire resilience and stoicism, to respect those who silently endure hardships.
But Shanti asks us to examine the cost of that silence.
When pride prevents us from seeking sanctuary, it ceases to be a virtue and becomes a dangerous vulnerability.
I want to leave you with a final lingering question to explore on your own.
Let's hear it.
Think about the generations that come after. When we reframe our deepest traumas and most devastating losses as heroic sacrifices just to survive them, do we inadvertently teach our children to seek out the same suffering?
That is a profound thought.
Does romanticizing martyrdom ensure the cycle of pain continues for the next generation? Think about that the next time you feel you have to just tough it out.
A really important takeaway.
If you found value in this story, please don't forget to subscribe to the Simplified Summary YouTube channel, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your take on Gopa's reaction.
Was it genuine strength, or was it a delusion born of grief?
Let us know. Until next time, keep diving deep.